I did it. I did it again. That's way better. I don't sit here and ramble as much beforehand, wondering if I'm actually live or not. And today, I'm actually streaming on YouTube also, I think. I don't know. I didn't test it. I just kind of set it up and was like, why don't we try this out? And with that said, buenos dias, sacha no, dobre, utra dobre ranuk, and good morning. It is 8:28 a.m. on Wednesday, March 8th, which is Happy International Women's Day. So, I had so many things. I went down so many rabbit holes last night and this morning and had to just stop myself because there's so many things that holidays in general, and specifically International Women's Day, can dovetail into good and bad, or I can't say good and bad, perceived as good and bad, or bad. So, I made a couple random bullet points that I will go through this fine morning on International Women's Day. But before that, just to see if anybody jumps on here or not, I am going to do the word of the day. And the word of the day is cahoots, which is relevant in so many different ways. It's a fun word, too. I challenge you to use all of these words of the day in your daily activities just to throw people off, because who says cahoots anymore? Does people? I'm just going to go with what I think I'm saying. And does people still say cahoots? Let me know if you use that. And cahoots, I'm going to read it right here, is an informal word that is usually used in the phrase in cahoots to describe a partnership or alliance for making or implementing secret plans. Ooh. Sounds secret. So, here's an example. Though 5 years apart in age, the two siblings are often in cahoots when it comes to making mischief. Well, that's aptly put. So, looks like there might be a couple of people on here. I'm not sure. And we'll just jump right in. I think the first few minutes of this are always going to be this. So if you're watching a replay of this, just know that you can fast forward, and hopefully you can fast forward to about 2.5, 3 minutes, and then you'll actually get into some content. So, topic for today. Actually, the topic for today is not directly, it's related to International Women's Day, but it is specifically around, I'm looking at my notes, because otherwise you don't want to know what happens up here when I don't have some sort of structure. So be careful what you focus on, because possibilities are endless. This is kind of a theme that's been going, I think, in a lot of the lives that I've been doing. And the reason I gave International Women's Day this title, be careful what you focus on, because possibilities are endless, is because of how people perceive holidays in general and International Women's Day, and the definition and the perspective they have on that and what they assign to that. And some people are like, yay, it's had an International Women's Day. And some people are like, that's right, we're oppressed. And both may be valid. Actually, both are valid. Just depends on your definition. So one thing I will challenge everybody to do, another challenge, like a lot of challenges, is not even specifically for this day, for all holidays, is do your research. Do some research on the holiday itself. I recently heard something about St. Patrick's Day that I thought, holy crap, are you serious? Like that's what it was about? That's how it started? Do some research on it. It's like, oh, this is not a happy day. This is not a happy let's drink beer and party day. This is, woo. Anyways, for a backstory and history on International Women's Day, it actually started unofficially in 1908 when 15,000 women marched on New York City demanding shorter hours, better pay, and voting rights. That's awesome. Love that. In 1909 is when it became official in the U.S. This is the part that I don't like, is it was in accordance with a declaration by the Socialist Party of America. That's great. I'm pretty sure in 1909, the Socialist Party of America was probably run by a man. So why not say, you know what, in accordance with the declaration by Sue and Jane, who led the Party of Women for Equal Rights, we have the first National Women's Day. But no, it is tied to a political party. We, right? Come on. Anyways, and I'm not going to go into my thoughts on socialism and things like that because that's a rabbit hole I went down. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going there. If you know me, you know my thoughts on things like that. Anyways, that started February 28th. And then after that, it was observed on the final day, the final Sunday of February until 1913, I think it was. Yes, in 1913, it switched to March 8th. It was agreed upon by the international community of women, I'm assuming. And that was actually back in 1911, a lady from Germany came up with that idea to make it all the same day. I don't know if her idea was to have it on March 8th. Doesn't matter, but it was kind of cool that like the whole world came together and said, let's celebrate this day. And you know what's really funny too is before it started becoming a big thing here in the United States, I was living in Mongolia and found out about it. There's so many things that go on in the world that we don't know about over here, and it's so funny to see how entitled or how worldly a lot of people seem to think they are, myself included at certain times. And so that's funny. I was like, there's an International Women's Day? What? Really? That exists? And it's been going on since 1913, officially since 1913. And I had to live in Mongolia to find out about it originally. And I don't know when it started becoming a deal over here, a bigger deal over here, but thankfully it has. So going back to the title of this live, and that being, let me find it again because I don't want to mess this up. Be careful what you focus on because possibilities are endless. And the reason I titled it that, again, is because you could focus on the achievements that have been made, or you can focus on all the things that you don't like. And there's things that everyone doesn't like in everything that we do. And you can focus on what you have and what you don't have, or you can be grateful for what you have and focus on possibilities. So I say don't focus on what you have and don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on the possibilities. Focus on what is possible for the future. Because when you focus on what you have, you're stuck with what you have. When you focus on what you don't have, you're stuck with what you don't have. When you focus on possibilities, your brain goes, oh, you know what? There may be another option coming up. And then it goes into creative problem-solving mode, if that makes sense. Good book. Couple good books that you might want to check out. I could go down such a big rabbit hole on these two. As far as optimism goes, pessimism goes, there's something called optimalism. But a really good book on optimism is called Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. If you want, I can put the title in the comments or whatever. And then there's another one specifically around perfectionism versus optimalism, and that's called The Pursuit of Perfect by Tal Ben-Shahar. And if you've never heard of optimalism, I'll tell you what that is real quick. So perfectionists have to have everything perfect, or That's just it, right? They have to have everything perfect. And there's no room for any error at all. An optimalist says, I'm shooting for perfection, but I know I'm not going to ever reach it. So what can I do to get as close as possible? That's a kind of a broad definition of that. And getting into that just a little bit more, along with everything else and possibilities and all of that, is if you don't think there are possibilities and there are things that are going to be better in the future than they are currently, even if things are awesome now, then you have the potential of falling into learned helplessness, which Martin Seligman goes into in Learned Optimism. And learned helplessness basically is when you are hopeless. And you're like, it doesn't matter what I do. Everything sucks and I can't get ahead. I can't achieve my goals. I can't do what I want to do. Because name the reasons. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. I was born this way, I was this way, I was whatever. And then if you look around, you'll see people that are just like you, or that you even think are not as good as you, that are killing it. So be aware, look around at the potentials and the possibilities everywhere. I hope this all is tying back well to International Women's Day, because I think it is really great that there is, because there's, specific days for like mothers and stuff like that. But it was really cool when I was over in Mongolia and I found out about it, and it was a big deal. It was a big deal. Like all of the women got flowers, and and presents and gifts, and it was celebrated at offices and just everywhere. It was like it doesn't seem to have the same amount of coverage, I guess, here, or it does maybe on social media. Everybody's like, "Yay, it's International Women's Day," just like I'm doing here, right? But I'm not giving flowers to anybody today. Probably should, or say something nice to somebody, to a woman I know. So there you go. There's another challenge for you. To all of the women in your life, give them a call, send them a text. Actually, give them a call or talk to them in person. Just say, you know what, I appreciate you, because you do appreciate them. If it wasn't for them, all right, if it wasn't for them, a lot of things would not happen. A lot of things. Oh, man. And let me see if I can see anything else in here. That's it. I don't know how long I've been going here, but it's been longer than I had planned. And I just wanted to throw that out there. You know what else is really funny? I want to mention this at the end. If you're still watching this and you're a woman, I was telling a friend of mine, a girl friend, about the fact that I was joking about starting a women's group run by me, a dude. And she said, that actually is a really good idea. So I'm still thinking about that. If that's something that you think, you know what, that'd be really fun to have, like, Travis, his random brain working on helping me with accountability and putting a group together of community of like-minded women that have goals and are trying to better themselves mentally and physically in different ways. Let me know. Either leave me a comment down below or shoot me a private message. Or a DM, as the cool social media peoples talk about. And with that said, have an amazing day. Have an amazing International Women's Day, because it's better than the alternative.